Aubrey with Vitality Fitness, and I'm popping in here real quick today to talk to you about how to perform a squat in the correct way. So I know a lot of people have been told, I can never squat, I can never do that, I have bad knees, I have a bad back, I have this, that, and the other. But let me tell you something, a squat is a very functional motion. We do a squat when we get up from the chair, from a low chair. We do a squat when we sit on a toilet. We do a squat many times throughout the day. So it's very functional for us to be able to do that motion. So let's practice and make sure we have the right technique. I have talked with people who have said they have never learned in years and years, maybe they've exercised for 20 years, and they've never learned how to do a squat properly. So once they made some small tweaks and changes, they were feeling so much stronger and better with their joints. So let's go through it. So what you want to do is you want to be in a wide stance here. My feet are just slightly wider than my hips here. And it varies by person. All of our pelvises are made up just a little bit differently. The way our hips sit inside of our pelvis and the way they sit, whether they're slightly forward or slightly back, that hip joint, the way that sits in our pelvis is a little bit different for everybody. So what that means is you might feel really good with your squat with your toes pointed directly forward. And someone else might feel better with their toes slightly out. And so for me, I like to have my toes slightly out and not straight forward on my squat. Then I like to bring my hands in front of my chest so that it reminds me to keep a really good upright posture. You could also, as you progress your squat, hold a weight here to make that exercise harder. But if you were holding it in front of your chest and not leaning against your chest. You're holding it with a little bit of space in between. So from here, I'm going to take my hips back. So this motion really starts with my hips. It doesn't start with my knees. A lot of people go straight down and think they're doing a squat. But you really need to sit your hips back like you're about to sit in a chair, then bend your knees, and then press your hips forward as you stand tall. So you're sitting your hips back like you're about to sit. There's a bench behind me on purpose so that you can see I'm going back towards the bench with my hips. My knees are bending a little bit, and then I'm coming up tall. I'm going to do this motion from the side so that you can see it. So here I am, nice and tall. I'm in my wide stance, slightly wider than my hips. My toes are turned out slightly. I'm going to keep my chest up here and my palms in front of me. I'm going to sit my hips back like I'm about to sit, and then come up tall, squeeze my tush as I stand tall. So I sit my hips back, my knees bend a little bit, and then I come up tall and I squeeze my tush. So you can see that my knees don't travel too far forward. They're not getting a lot of pressure. If I was coming straight down this way, that puts a lot of pressure on my knees. But if I sit my hips back first and I let them kind of unlock and I go back, that gives a little less pressure on my knees and it's a better position. So I encourage you to give that a try and see how you feel. The other thing I want you to think about is maybe hold just a little tension like you're trying to kind of push your knees apart. You don't want them to come together, certainly. You want to keep them in a line with your body. You want them to stay out. Don't let them come together. But you can also kind of think about that imaginary pressure of just kind of pulling them apart a little bit more. Not that you're actually pulling them apart, but you're just kind of like imagining you're pushing away at your knees and then coming up. That's going to get your glute muscles to fire a little bit more, which is great for your body. If that squat is absolutely not happening for you, you can certainly take a chair or a bench. You can even elevate the seat of your chair by putting a firm book or a pillow or a cushion on there and work on your sit to stand exercise first. So I'm going to start with my feet apart just the same way. You can use your hands on the chair if you need to get started. You're going to shift your body weight forward, come up nice and tall. I would encourage you to come up quickly. Try to work on coming up quickly and take that count of 3, 2, 1 to sit down. So come up quickly, try to keep your knees apart. This is a low bench. If you were doing it on a chair, it would be a little bit easier. And take that 3, 2, 1 to sit down. So if you're not quite ready for your squat, feel free to give it a try with that sit to stand. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a comment. Have a good one.